Welcome back to the show. I'm going to look down at my computer once or twice because I've got some critical things that I want to quote to you. And as I discuss with you the Iowa straw poll and the Iowa caucus. Now, I was talking with somebody last night who is pretty adept at politics, pretty involved over the years, and they could not get their head around the Iowa straw poll, the Iowa caucus, what it means, what difference does it make. So I thought, wow, then I really need to discuss this with our viewers because it actually is critical, or it has been critical for the last couple of decades. First of all, let me explain the difference between the Iowa straw poll and the Iowa caucus. And I'll explain to you why both of them are important, and I'll look at the history of it for the last 20 years or maybe a little bit more than that. The Iowa straw poll happens in August, a year and 3 months ahead of the election. So the Iowa straw poll for the 2012 election was August of 2011. The Iowa straw poll for the 2008 election was August of 2007. Now, let me explain a few things about this. And believe me, it actually is important to you because it sometimes determines who's the next president. First of all, the Iowa straw poll is a Republican event. The Democrats do not participate. Did you hear what I just said? This is a Republican event. Second of all, it has no direct meaning, no legal bearing on who will win the caucus, who will win the nomination, or who will become president. Now let that just sink in for a minute, okay? The Iowa straw poll is a Republican event. Democrats don't participate. And it has no legal bearing on the Iowa caucus, which will happen in February or so of 2016. The Iowa straw poll happens in August. About 6 months later, the Iowa caucus. The Iowa caucus is where they determine who won that state's primary. So they have a primary caucus, not a primary election. Are you confused yet? And here's something to make matters even just a little more interesting. This is why it's important. Iowa, by law, by state law, will be the first state in the nation to have a primary. And New Hampshire, by law, will be second. These two states are so entrenched in their place in the body politic of America that it doesn't matter what Louisiana does, it doesn't matter what any state in the union does. Florida, I believe it was Florida, back in 2008, it was either 8 or 12, tried to jump ahead of Iowa and New Hampshire, and some of the candidates actually boycotted the entire process. They said, we're not doing it. It was a real slap down. My memory is that it was Florida. I do this show primarily without notes, people. There's just once in a while there's a leak in the treasure trove up here, and malfunction, so I might recollect something. So, Iowa caucus in February of 2016, all right? And then the New Hampshire primary. But let's just focus on Iowa. So Iowa's first. Great. Iowa's going to have the first primary. It's a caucus primary. What's a caucus? Well, in an election with a secret ballot, which is what most of us participate in, you go into a little booth, you put a check by a name, or you push the little computer screen, or you flip the little lever, whatever voting mechanism you're using. And you cast a secret ballot, a secret vote for the one person who you want to win the primary, okay? And you get one vote, and you get one try, and you exit. In a caucus, people will go into a room. So if you're from the 4th precinct of Polk County, you gather with people from the 4th precinct of Polk County in Iowa. And you sit in a room. Everyone sees everyone. And the guy who's for Romney, let's roll back the tape to 2012 or 2008. So the guy that's for Romney sits over here, and the guy who's for whoever else is running that particular year sits over here, and the guy who's running for Santorum sits over here, and Newt Gingrich sits over here, and they all say to everyone in the room, come on, join me, join my candidate. We can win. We know that Newt Gingrich has a better grasp of foreign policy. No, Romney's got a better grasp of domestic economic policy, and that's what it means. And it's like an open horse trading. Everyone can see who everyone is sitting with. They go sit under the guy's name. And if your guy, if the person you like does not get 15% of the people in the room, then none of the votes count. And they have to either go home or go and be with somebody else. They have to move to another candidate. That's what a caucus is. Open horse trading. Open discussion. Everyone gets to see who it is that you voted for in the caucus. Now, I'm going to take a break. Remember, the Iowa caucus, which actually does determine the winner of the Iowa primary, is not the same thing as the Iowa straw poll. The straw poll is coming up in just 3 short months. It's a beauty pageant. Let's talk about it as a beauty pageant when we come back, and let's see who said, I'm not putting on the high heels and the bikini when we come back. Do you want to get America out of the hands of wicked and unjust men and women who are destroying the republic before our eyes, and put leadership back into the hands of righteous men and women so that we don't die as a nation? Well, you're talking about social revolution, and there are rules in social revolution. We can look at the victorious social revolutions of the past, such as the end of slavery, the end of child labor, women's voting rights, the end of segregation, and so much more, and learn from their victories. Look at their actions, their images, their rhetoric, their sacrifices, and their final fruit. We will send you this series that originally cost $129, 7 books for students, 1 teacher's guide, if you'll give a gift of any size and just pay for shipping and handling. Take advantage of it today.